This week, we're exploring ways to enhance client experience.
We've learned that creating an excellent client experience is key to keeping clients engaged and happy through their design project.
So we're sharing some of the ways we enhance our processes to create stronger client relationships.
And guess what? You won't have to spend a lot of money to try them.
Let's go. Hi, I'm Rebecca of Studio Plum.
And I'm Shaun of Renstead Interiors. We're interior designers
Turned internet friends.
turned real life friends.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
We're not that hot.
Or that young.
Every week, we'll be spilling the tea on how a new generation of interior designers can run their businesses.
Welcome to the club. Hey, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
I'm trying to make it really high drama over here.
Ooh, yeah. We got drama going on. Drama for your mama.
We got plenty of drama. I'm the master of my own drama.
You're the architect of it, the master of it.
The designer.
I don't know who pretended that being a designer was all glamorous or whatever. It's definitely not.
Yeah, I wish I was just like draping luxurious fabrics over things and
then having everybody go, "Oh my God, yeah, yes. Who do I throw my money at? Yes."
Honestly, my dream in life is to just be clopping through a hallway with somebody following me with a clipboard and a pen, and I can just like toss out details and tasks over my shoulder.
Okay, so Kelly Wurstler.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she does other stuff, but the benefit of her having her team is that she also shows up looking legit like a fashion model to every meeting, it looks like.
She really does. She's always crouching on furniture in heels.
She knows how to do those like body angles
Spider
that make you
leg
look
things.
really activated and very influencer.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I will be doing that, but...
Is she the Miranda Priestley of design?
Oh, maybe.
I can't think of anyone else as dramatic.
So, yeah, I really want to just, like, say a thought and have somebody jot it down and execute it.
Uh-huh.
But...
What did you do with that piece of paper I had last Tuesday?
Did you get those samples in? I want them to just be arriving. Like, I just want samples to be arriving. Anyway, let's jump into fizzles and sizzles.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll start with mine because I kind of previewed you that I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but it has been a morning already. I know you've had a busy one too. So this morning, a client reached back out to me who we've been through like a whole process. They already like got a proposal, signed the contract, but like for whatever reason hadn't paid the proposal. So I just followed up with them because I waited a few days. You never know. People might need to figure stuff out. So I'm like, okay, let's be chill. And she was like, I don't think this is the direction I want to go. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be sad. She's not going to want to do the project. It's supposed to be more of like design only, kind of like e-design, but they are local to me. So I did actually get to do an in-person consult with them. Turns out she's like flipping the whole script on me. And this is why it's a fizzle. She wants to move to like full service furnishing, accessorizing for these 2 rooms in her home that they recently remodeled. I love the style of the home. I love what they did in the kitchens and bathrooms. I think it's a cute little it's not little, it's actually a big Spanish house. So I'd love to do that, but I don't really want to do full service for this right now because it's a shit show out there. And we've talked about it in previous episodes about how it's getting pretty dire to find furniture and accessories and things that are in stock. And it just doesn't match up with their fantasy of like, in 4 months or so, they want it all to be done. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty unrealistic. So
It's not
later.
impossible.
It's not impossible, but this afternoon we're going to have the conversation. So I've already scheduled the call, but it was kind of like I called her and I was like, what do you tell me what you're thinking? It's one of those like where you can tell something wasn't sitting right, so you've got to like let them tell you all the stuff.
What they're trying to have happen, yeah.
And they're in like mostly retirement and they've traveled to see kids and they're just like, we don't want to do this ourselves. But when they started, it was like, we'd rather do it ourselves. We are traveling a lot and we'll just buy stuff when we know we're going to be here for a while. And then meanwhile, I think it got into her head how I was like, yeah, but I could be doing all that while you're traveling. And she's
Hmm.
like, yeah, but we're okay with doing it this way. I'm like, okay, well, I'll prepare that in a proposal. We'll do it. It'll be good. And I think it finally like sunk in. And I just wish it had done that when we were still at the early phases. Um, but it's okay. It's just not exciting to think about the delays. So I've got to get my act together of
Yeah, and probably my constant complaining isn't really boosting your morale in that
it's
department.
but you're not the only one. You're
No,
not.
I know.
It's
It's
but it
not just
isn't.
me.
And so I think what I'm really going to have to do is explain like on this afternoon's call of I don't want to discourage you from this. In fact, it's more exciting for me as a designer to do it this way, but whatever timeline you have in your head, double it. Whatever budget you have in your head, double it. Like just
Yeah, I
let's
think it's smart to do that. Like, we'll shoot for the moon, but you need to be okay with the worst case scenario, which is entirely possible. So,
that we're landing in the middle of space between the earth and the moon.
yeah.
Oh, right.
But like, we'll shoot for 3 to 4 months, but it could take 6 to 8. Will you
Right.
still be happy with that?
Exactly. And that's kind of
And
where I
here's what
want to
I need
leave
from
it.
you: quick decision making, good
Yeah.
feedback.
Right.
When
And
we're
I think
hitting, like, when we're starting to do actual procurement, like, I'll let you know, like, okay, finger on the trigger, because like that's what this morning with my similar client, like, I had to cancel everything because they approved and paid an invoice. So I had to go pick up the check and place orders first thing so the things don't disappear.
yeah, you're like
Inventory.
shit, fire the shit. Like just
Yeah, there's a fire in
go.
the hole. Totally. And it's like, we're not losing. There's only one of these consoles left. I'm getting
In
it.
the whole West Coast has one console.
I'm not starting over. Yeah, well, because it's been hard to kind of get the style right because they're like really design forward. So anyway,
But
yeah. So
that's like a good thing for you.
yeah, I mean, it's good. It's just like you're looking for unicorns all the time, and then you've got one by the tail. You can't let it go. I'm really taking this far, but
I'm with it. I just every time you say
just
something like that now I hear Cecily when she
I
was
know.
like, and I have this beautiful, gorgeous unicorn. I have this elegant
Isn't she
unicorn. Like,
lovely?
yeah, isn't it beautiful? Like,
um, yeah, so I think I actually have a list to kind of create a piece that's like a disclaimer on COVID times and
like
just make it look.
a warning sheet.
Yeah, it's gonna be red.
Yeah,
It's like a
this is a
big
red
stock.
handout. You have to pull it like a pin out of a grenade before you open the rest of the stuff I give you. You have to do this first.
Yes, and so it's gonna be a
It's
lot of hurry up and then wait.
still exciting to
Well, that's
be
good.
getting to that point and that they're on board and that they are forward. So that for you, that's a sizzle. For me, my fizzle is having to like go back to the drawing board a little bit because things are just moving quickly and it kind of restarts their timeline. Um, my sizzle is that this afternoon I get to go pick up the cabinets that I am installing for my one room challenge. I haven't even shown anything about them. So everyone will just have to stay tuned to the blog posts and my Instagram stories for more about that.
I'm gonna get a sneak peek.
Yes, you definitely will. You definitely will. It's like sometimes it's fun to do this stuff yourself. like I got a U-Haul. I'm gonna go down
Oh.
there. I'm gonna pick them up. I don't have a truck, and I don't know anybody. Well, my brother has a big truck, but my brother is one of those people with a truck who doesn't want to let anybody use it.
Oh, it's like has to stay
It's
pristine in
his,
the
yeah,
bed.
it's yeah, he doesn't even drive it for work. He has a work provided vehicle. So his truck is like the baby.
What's the point of
So
having a twin if you can't borrow their truck?
I know it's disappointing. So yeah, I'm whatever. I'm going down there. I'm gonna pick him up. It's only like 4 cabinets. So it's kind of fun to be like loading dock life and
Oh
like
yeah.
picking them up. And they were semi-custom. So
Oh, I'm
which
so jealous.
I'm kind of stoked. They won't be going in right away, but I mean it's like a fun diversion. Maybe no one else likes dirty loading docks, but
Oh, yeah, no. I was just I would be excited to just see them and unwrap
yeah,
them.
I'm psyched for them to like they do the like open them, inspect them, and whatever, and I'm gonna get like psyched. Hope fingers crossed they're the right everything I want, and they're not damaged or anything, and then they load them up in the truck, and it'll be good.
Well, it's exciting.
Yeah,
Which is a lot more exciting than my one room challenge, which I don't even have a color scheme for. So
meh.
kickoff is today. Got a little bit of a having some problems, but
I I mean more delays, more stuff that's not available or back ordered. It's a
yeah,
common trend right now.
yes. And then I'm trying to work with sponsors, so I'm at their mercy. Um, so I don't know. I worked myself into a frenzy last night trying to solve I don't have like good samples and I can't wait for them, so I'm trying to just figure out how to roll the dice in a safe
Oh,
manner.
giving me heart palpitations over here.
Oh, you don't even want to know.
I I
I
don't want to know
haven't
yet.
even started my blog post, but you know what? I gave myself forgiveness and I'm just going to post it on Saturday. Like,
It's available to
whatever.
open for that reason.
Yeah,
It
I don't need to be
this is
first on the
precisely
scene.
why. No, and to be quite honest, like you see the people who are posting like first through like 20 and you were like they were just sitting there refreshing the page waiting for this thing to be available. Like
I know.
there's
I don't know
no
how they do
reason to
that.
do that. There's no reason to do that.
I
Also, most
used
people explore
to.
you through Instagram. So
I think, I mean, I did do that in the beginning, like my first one or two, and I think it did help me get noticed. So now it's not my goal so much. So um, I'm
I
giving
realized that the
myself,
first picture is a big deal. Like that little preview photo should
yeah,
be something that gets people to go, "Oh, wait, what?" And but other people are just like big logos and it's like there's nothing to see, which doesn't make me want to click on it.
I know. And the first one's the hardest because I never want to like give too much away, but people want to see it. So yeah, so I'm working through that. But I'm also giving myself some grace because it's not the most important thing in the world on my plate right now. And my sizzle, speaking of like the hurry up and wait and back orders and all that, I did get a client project um, invoiced and paid, and I got to open up a new account with Noir LA, which I'm really excited about.
I love
Got a
all
good
their
opening
stuff.
order, so yeah, yeah, that felt fun. So this client was kind of adventurous and they like really love art and kind of just funky. They live in a mid-century high-rise, which is really cool downtown, and and they are like really well traveled and have a lot of just artifacts and art and different things. So we're doing some cool stuff in there. So that's exciting.
I mean, I love Noir. I've seen them here physically before. Like I'm in LA, they're in LA. I've seen their stuff at other places here locally. They obviously show really great at market. Um, but they do have a significant amount of warnings for everything that they do.
Oh, I
Like
know.
But I think part of that is just like, yes, things are made overseas. Some of their stuff where it's like, some of the times they disclose, like, oh, this is meant to be a rough finish. But then I'm like, no, it's clearly not meant to be a rough finish. It's just you can't guarantee the same quality on everything. So you don't want to be like on the hook for damage. You want to be able to call it rustic quality or rough or, and I'm okay with some of that. I think that's just like why they over disclose it, is like you can't be expecting at their price points perfection.
Well, and I think they have like I do think they have some like wabi-sabi approach to the process, and they
Yeah,
like seeing like whole like the little knots in the wood and
right. So you're
bug
like, people who
bites.
want perfection, perfection costs a shit ton of money,
Right. And
and most people
they're not
can't
about
afford
that.
that.
So yeah, so hopefully like that stuff's all in stock. So I'm hoping we can install that sooner than later
I'm
and
praying for you.
move on with our
Godspeed.
lives. Thanks.
Godspeed, Noir console.
Shall we get into our topic of the day?
Yes, let's hit it. Actually, some of the like disclosures and things we've been talking about fall in line with today's episode
Mm-hmm.
about client experience, because it's not always about like the warm and fuzzy stuff. It's also about like, how do you just enhance the way they're going to feel going through all of this, or make sure that they leave with good impressions and feel like you got your shit together.
Yeah, goals. Always going for that feeling.
Yeah, I think for me, the first and easiest way that I help enhance the client experience is just constant communication. Everybody wants to know what's going on. It's
Mm-hmm.
just finding out that groove for clients. And during my initial onboarding with clients, I find out their preferred contact methods, whether it's phone calls or emails or meetings. Um, I do a weekly project update email, and sometimes there's not much to talk about. Like sometimes you're just like, we're just waiting on stuff to show up, but clients want to know that you're still checking that stuff. So it's better than just leaving them in the dark going, I wonder what's happening with all my furniture.
Right.
So it's like, here's what's happening next, or just giving you a heads up. Next month, we're going to be doing, well, I don't know if it's different for everybody, but it's like, next month is going to be your install. We think we're looking at these weeks. Is that going to work for you? Or next week, the tile guy is going to be showing up for your shower. Like, that's going to be cool. And they just want to know that you have your hands on things, and that
Yeah.
it's not all up to the spirits about what's happening next. I think it just helps them to not feel surprised, or for them to think you're not surprised, even if something does surprise you.
Do you, this is something I'm going to start doing regularly. I've committed to myself and my therapist to
Good.
start tomorrow. Um, are so like if there's a furniture order where I know I won't hear anything for 6 weeks. I mean, are you just telling them every week, like, still the same?
Well, and it doesn't even have to be like, I'm doing this. It could just be, here's what's still happening. And it's like a bullet point. Like,
Mm-hmm.
your furniture is all in this phase. Your, fixtures are all in this phase. Like, it doesn't even have to be active. I checked your orders again, still the same. It can just bullet points. Like, remember, we're in the procurement phase. Everything's still getting ordered and we're waiting on it. We're getting it all scheduled for delivery to the receiver. Like, it's okay that you're not doing it if there isn't anything that you've had to do.
Yeah, I'm just
Or
wondering, like, what that looks like.
it's
Maybe
mine are
just,
most like, what's next? Like, how many weeks out are we thinking for installation? Like right now we're aiming at X, even if it's not the real date yet.
yeah, I'm just wondering because there's like either I tell them I'm just going to be sending this email out every week, and there's going to be a month probably where the email is exactly the same, but it's just going to be a status update.
And and I do tell clients, I'm like, expect regular communication from me. Some of them are going to have action, some of them won't. And then I always do like a bold header to separate things. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what's next? I put in bold, so that way they know, like, oh, let me scroll to that section. um Action, like, hey, you guys need to, like, if it's before demo, that says you need to have everything out of
Yeah.
this way by this date,
Clean
or
your
whatever
shit.
it might be. Yeah. So I just kind of highlight like what's next or what you need to do. Um, they're quick. Like, I mean, because we're keeping track of all that stuff every week. It's just giving them a few bullet points. It's more about them feeling like, oh, Rebecca knows what's happening. She knows what's going on. Um, Most of the replies I get for them are like, awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, they don't say anything. I mean, I sent one to a client at the end of last week that I just saw early in the week for a measure for a new project, and I just said, just letting you know, like, we're I'm working on getting all those measurements into plans so we can space plan the rest of the project. And like, there's nothing really done yet. I don't have anything to show, but I just want her to know, like, yeah, we're moving, things are happening.
Um, so do you bill clients when you like do you count like if you're having a personal conversation with them, like do you add that to your billing?
If
Like
it
especially
really
now it seems like there's a lot of corona talk. Like
Yeah, I will, like, I adjust. Like, if I'm just, shooting the shit with the client during a site visit for 15 minutes, I adjust that time. And I mean, that's my choice to spend my time connecting with them.
mhm.
I'm not overly generous with that, but I can like talk to them while I'm doing measurements. I mean, obviously everyone needs to know their limits
Don't
on that. Like,
talk to
if
me
you're
while you're doing
if yeah,
while I'm doing measurements.
everybody needs to know. But like, meanwhile, I have my laser measure out, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I can talk to you while I hit it going beep beep, and it makes a number for me. But if I'm measuring for like custom cabinetry, yeah, everybody, like, STFU, get out of here, because I'm gonna
Fuck
mess
off,
this up.
Shiv.
Fuck off, Shiv. um PS, if you guys still haven't caught Succession yet, it's time. So yeah, that's kind of here or there on personal time, but I do lately try to call clients when it's not business related. Like, if I'm on the road heading to another client, I can even just leave a voicemail that just says, I'm just checking in how you're holding up. I know your house has been demoed for a few weeks. I'm sure you're really hating washing your dishes in the bathroom sink. Just, we're almost there. Don't lose hope. Call me if anything comes up. Talk soon. Bye. Like,
Yeah.
it's fast. I mean,
A little morale booster.
yeah, like, or hey, all your stuff went in. Like, are you happy? Does it look great? I'm not going to be there for a site check-in, but the contractor seemed really stoked. And then I want to build up those positive moments of like, oh my God, yeah, the floors went in today and they look so good and they're gonna be so amazing. Like, I want to, like, what do you call it? Like, mark the
Like
miles.
milestone.
Yeah, it's just like punctuate those of
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hey, remember, like, good shit has happened, even though you're going crazy. Like,
Right.
I'm just trying to draw attention to
This is
good
the fun
things.
part to the fun parts. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, oh, it's going to be so awesome. Like, look at all the light coming in. And I feel like that's part of our job, is to pump up those things and connect with clients on that personal side. Cause I get into robot, like Mr. Spock mode when it comes to project management.
Yeah. Like I'm just trying to check something off my list here.
Right,
Let's
right. Like,
keep it
it's
moving.
just a site visit. I've got 4 more. Can we keep going? I only have 30, 40 minutes. Like, I don't want that to be robotic, because to them, these are exciting things happening. So I have to like program emotional support.
Wow.
It's hard once I'm in do strategy mode. That's my mode. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in my zone of genius when I'm doing that. And I have to remember, like, stop. They're excited. All their tile just went in their shower, or they just saw their sample cabinet from the cabinet maker and it looks amazing. Like, I have to reinforce how exciting those things are for them, even if they're not for me.
Yeah, see, that's not where I would have issue because I'm so excited about every little part of it, like
You're like,
more excited than they are
oh my God, look at
probably.
this paint color. Look at it. Did you look at it?
Yeah, like look at
It's
this
the
tile.
perfect
It's
green
so
blue.
cute. I know.
I don't, the personal stuff helps. There are some calls where some of it is like very business, and I'm pretty flexible with the way that I track some of that. Like, I'm not nickel and diming someone over 2 minutes of personal chat. That's
Right. And you don't, and you want them to know that too, because I do feel like sometimes people are like, "Am I paying for this?" But
yeah, I'm
I
pretty flexible.
but I also want everyone to remember each other's humanity, like
Yeah.
partly to check in with them and their mental health, but also like remember I'm a person too, and
Yeah.
I've got a lot of shit going on too. I don't want to put that burden on them, and I really try not to, even though a
Right.
lot of times they see me on social media, so I have to be careful that they're not
Yeah.
like trying to like protect me somehow. But
Yeah. And I feel like
like,
that's part
oh, I know
of,
your daughter's in homeschool. Like, how's that going? Like, I want like the humanity touch point, but I don't want them to feel like they're
I'm sorry, I don't
worried
want to
about
bother
me.
you. I know you're doing
Right.
this. Like, I try not to share publicly, and it's not necessarily about client experience, but it kind of is about, I don't want to share comments about, oh, I'm so busy or I'm
Yeah, I
overwhelmed
don't
or
do that.
today was exhausting. Like, I will do that with our private group, among friends and family, but I don't want clients to feel like, oh, I'm so sorry to be bothering you with this. It's like, literally, you're
Totally.
paying me for that. You're literally paying to bother me.
And we're all like, and it's boring.
Yeah, it doesn't help get
Boring
anywhere.
content.
And yeah,
We're all busy. Fuck off,
alert,
kids.
boring content. But yeah, just the, how are you holding up? Are you happy? I always
Yeah.
try to ask the hard questions during those calls too of, are there any concerns that you need me to focus on? Is there anything that you need me to be helping with? And nobody really wants to ask that question. And I think it speaks volumes to clients when you open yourself up to that vulnerability of like, well, it sounds like everything's great. But when you stop and say, hey, like, what do you need me to focus on? Like, what's going wrong? Or what do you feel isn't going the way you want it to? And you need me to focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
No, that's good.
really hard to ask a question like that. So
Yeah, I don't like it.
it's very uncomfortable every time I do it. It's almost like asking for a performance review. It's really hard, but I've most people don't have anything that is that big, and they're so conflict averse that they will they, even if it's something tiny, they're like, no, I'm okay, because it's not, he's asking me what is a concern, and this isn't really one. Like, they make that decision of
And it
like, I
also
don't want to
may,
burden him with this.
which might help them not fixate on it if it's just a small annoyance because they've now
Yes.
decided not to take the opportunity to talk about it.
Right.
It must not be that important.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to always reinforce, oh, you guys have been so patient with all of this. Or, oh, I wish all my clients were so understanding. And then they're like, oh, I better shut the hell up then.
Totally.
I'm giving you guys all the secrets. We're designopists, but also master manipulators.
Oh, yeah, for
It's
sure.
all about the spin.
Speaking of spin, let's talk a little bit about marketing.
I mean,
Like our
it's
brain,
marketing is all about the spin.
oh, all spin all the time. But like, I think we talked about it a little bit, but like branded or printed items that we use to help
Yeah.
guide the experience.
Okay.
Um, we're both big on branded thank you cards. I just got some printed with my new brand. I did just like a basic note card from Moo. So they
Yeah.
actually don't say thank you, so I can use them for different things.
I love that
They're
idea.
yeah, they're really heavy weight and they're that luxe paper, so they feel really cute. Or not cute. They don't feel cute. They're
They
like
feel
they feel
so cute.
substantial.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big upgrade to like get like a really nice card stock. Yours are really pretty.
Yeah, and I just use those for the end of a project, maybe alongside a gift. But you had given me the idea. I don't know if we were on the pod when we were talking about, but you do thank you cards after consultations, right?
Yeah, I do. After every in-person consultation, I mail a thank you card.
And I hadn't been doing that, so I like the idea, but I think I'm going to create a different card. And also, because like we've said, I do a lot of them. So, um,
And you don't want the investment to get out of control on that. Like,
no, I mean, I'm doing 1 to 2 a week. So, which is
so
still
you're gonna
worth a
have your
dollar, but
cheaper card
yeah,
for
not cheap. I mean,
those.
cheaper, but also like a little bit different. I thought it would be fun to put some communication on it, like tag me in your photo, because I do a lot of one-off consultations intentionally. So
Oh, that'd be
tag
cute.
me in your photos, like tell your friends, like instructions,
That's
referral
cute.
ideas, like a little, make it a little piece of marketing, but
But
make it
it's not
cute.
like over the top. It's not like that's the
No,
whole card. It's
I'm
you
not
write it
selling them anything.
personalized.
Yeah,
Like I handwrite the note. Yours
yeah,
are handwritten too. I think that's a huge do not if you want a Lux experience, you do not print off of a computer or template a thank you card. Like don't look at any big upscale brand. It's always a handwritten note.
yeah, and it doesn't have to be a long letter. So I'm gonna design these consult follow-up cards to be short and sweet, but a fun little value add. And yeah, think about kind of, I guess, a referral, um, like a referral generator.
Yeah, like if people are seeing like, oh, Rebecca was, Studio Plum, they tag you, was at my house and she helped me with changing up the styling for this, or she gave me idea to paint this. Those posts on Instagram, though they may not be like your full finished work, those are still helpful for other people to think, oh, she can help me with this. Like I should bring her in. And
Yeah,
it's
and
a
I know
real
Chuck
person, it's a testimonial.
totally. So that's
It
on my
creates a
list.
it creates like a loyal following among people too because they like you, they feel more personally invested with you, they tell other people. You want the loyal customers. You want those that
Yeah,
are going to like be so happy with you that they'll mention you to anybody they know who's buying a house or doing a nursery or thinking about a remodel. Like we depend on that type of word of mouth business.
totally.
I think the branded stuff, like even if it is just a logo, if you don't have a full branding package, get your company name on it, get your logo on it. You don't have to buy like 4,000. You can, if you're going
No,
to be updating stuff, just get something that really speaks to you. It elevates your professionalism because it shows that you're investing. If you're not ready for that type of investment, like we both have used moo.com for ours, non-spawn. Um, you can
and
just
they have really
use,
small, they have really small minimums. So I mean, I think I ordered
right.
25 of those just to see what the quality was like and to make sure that I liked them before I invested in
And
more.
you'll go through them quick. Like, but if you can't just
But
use,
not, I mean, 25, like that's a lot of finished
it's a lot of
client.
consults. Yeah.
Well, not the
But you
consults.
can,
The consults I'll order more, but yeah.
yeah. But you can totally, I mean, if that investment is too much at the beginning, yes, use a standard thank you card. Pick them up at Target or Home Goods or whatever. Use
Yeah,
those. It's still something personal from you. The branded element just takes it to the next level and shows off your professionalism and is like, oh shit, this is a real company. Like they're investing in this just for their company.
hey, Shaun, have you signed up for the Hot Young Designers Club newsletter?
Oh no.
Really? is this you not wanting to clutter your inbox with a lot of excess junk?
No, no, let me do it. Where do I need to go?
You need to go to hotyoungdesignersclub.com, scroll down till you get to the subscribe button. You just pop in your email address and your name.
All right, I'm doing it right now. Is this going to be a bunch of spam?
It's not. It's actually not going to be anything until we actually get around to sending something. But we have big plans and we want to be able to send surveys to get feedback from our audience. And maybe once in a while, a special surprise or a recap.
All right, I'm on it.
Thank you. Back to the show. And that goes like, we don't need to get totally into all of this, but collateral overall, like welcome guides, investment guides,
Any
different
handout or material has
document.
to have,
Yeah.
yeah. Even if it is a simple Word doc where everything's good except the footer has your logo and contact details. Let's just get that at minimum.
But even having the document itself is a experience for the client. So like,
yeah,
I finally updated my like kind of big thing about freight, receiving, and shipping, like what it means and an explanation and all that. And so now that's part of my, I updated it. I updated the branding, but I also made it a lot more clear with FAQs and stuff so that it's a better experience, easier for them to read, and then I can explain.
Ooh, girl, I want to look at that.
Oh yeah, I need to share it with you.
I have like 4 different handouts for some of that, and man, maybe that one from my Fizzle is going to need an updated version because I really, in my head, it's like a full interactive website experience, but I can't afford that shit. So I've got to like,
No, they
I've
just
got
need
to make it really easy
understand.
to follow.
Yeah, mine's not like, I think it's 2 pages, like a front and back, but
Perfect.
it's mostly words. But it makes it like, it explains the process and the why and the,
Yeah. I have a page that is like what is
yeah,
freight
it's
shipping and
that.
receiving, but then they're also I'm separately working on stuff about procurement, and I know you and I have talked about that as a
Mm-hmm.
whole other series of like process party episodes where we talk about that stuff because it's so big it can fill a lot of information. But having branded sheets that talk about that just really shows clients that you've got a process that's repeatable, that it's organized, that you've thought of everything. It makes them feel good.
And basically, if you have a document or you have communication that you send to a client repeatedly, brand it and make it
Yeah,
an item that you keep adding to your client kit. So basically, that's what I'm doing is
every
I
time.
don't have, like, I didn't sit down and create this client toolbox because I didn't have time in the beginning. So I'm just adding to it as I go and updating and perfecting as I go.
I think it's really smart. I think it just shows clients that everything's expected. There's an idea for all of it that you've put down. I can't express enough how important it is that we elevate our professionalism as an industry because for every one of us who are trying to be really transparent and upfront with clients, there are just as many who are really scrambling through the process, and clients take a bad impression from that, from working with a designer or someone. And it's damaging for all of us when that happens, and that's true
Right.
for every industry, but it especially hurts us because we do seem, from the outside, designers can seem very flighty and very
Yeah.
creative and jumpy, and it doesn't feel like an organized business. So we have to reinforce it whenever we can.
Yeah. And that's why documents, and we've talked about automation, help me a lot because it helps me not to forget too. Like, there's a shorthand sometimes of like my understanding, and there's a big gap between what the client's understanding. So if you have this
Mm-hmm.
documentation, they can educate themselves and you can support that education. But
Yeah. I learned I learned more about that when I worked in learning and development as a consultant with the bank. We were teaching a lot, and they were like, if you have to say anything more than once, it needs to be like in the guide so it
mm-hmm.
becomes a talking point, or if you have to answer the same question more than once, it needs to be in there, or it needs to be on a sheet, or it needs to be somewhere.
And everyone learns
Because
different. Like you can tell somebody something and they hear it, but they don't totally understand it because you
yeah.
probably gave them a lot of information. So to
Oh my
go back
God,
and have
yeah.
something to read, I think is really helpful.
Totally, totally.
So
And
it's
it's
like,
not always like the fun stuff for that, but it is like you got to
no.
do it.
So design it kind of cute to make
Yeah.
people want to read it. Don't just do a Times New Roman legal doc. No one
Bullet
wants to
point
read that
list.
shit.
Yeah, that's save that for your contract if you have to, but um some of the fun stuff I do though, I during longer, mostly for remodel projects this is happening. I I like to do like a gift of I was thinking about you. This is stressful. Here's like I don't know, you could do like a sandalwood candle and two face masks and just leave them during a site visit and just put a little note like take a moment for yourselves, here you go. And they don't cost, it's not much.
Yeah, or like a little coffee gift card to go out and get a cup of coffee and get out of the
Yeah,
house. Or
I think you said you did that with a client, like you had sent them like a gift code
I
from like
haven't done it, but I have a
Starbucks.
friend who does it. So yeah, she'll buy like a $50 Starbucks card and then send it to all
A
of
handful
like
of
text it
clients,
to some clients and like go get yourself a coffee and
grab a coffee.
they use the barcode.
That's so cute.
I know it's really cute and really
I think
easy. I
that's a
forgot
smart
about that one.
idea. That was my brain is I have like a didactic memory. I will
What does
remember
that
that shit.
mean?
Didactic, when people say things, they sink into my head. Like people have
Oh, I'm kind of the
photographic memories. Like
opposite.
once they see something, it's in there. For me, and it's Shaun's worst enemy in all of life that I have a very didactic memory. If people say it out loud or I hear it on a radio commercial, like jingles from commercials, music starts playing, I got the lyrics in there. Did I know I had them? No, they're there.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I don't. I'm definitely more of a visual photographic memory. I can tell you where it was on the page, if it was the left page or the right page, towards the bottom. Like that's how I
yeah,
remember.
yeah. I have a very, it's not like a humble brag. I literally, it's just like, it haunts me too. Cause then you're like, that's not what you said. And people are like, no, that's what I'm like, actually.
Let me
And then
replay this for you.
I'm that annoying guy. I'm like, hold on, let me hit the play button. And then my little speaker comes out of my brain. And people are like, how do you even? And I'm like, we all learn different. I do better when people say things. That's why I like phone calls instead of emails. That's why I like in-person meetings instead of,
Mm.
virtual stuff. Like this is okay. We meet over Zoom for this, but I emails, good luck getting me to remember what was on line 5 of that email. But if I read it out loud, I'll remember it.
Hmm.
Everybody's different.
We're
But the
all different.
Starbucks card, it's a cool
You did remember
idea.
that.
That's a
And
smart one.
yeah, I love that. I'll do that. That's so easy too.
Yeah. Um, at the end of projects, it's always fun to just do something to kind of market as a celebratory something. It doesn't, again, I know everyone's at different budget points for some of this in their businesses, but if we're charging the right amount hourly, use this is all part of your marketing expenses to give
Hmm.
something to your clients, to buy something for them. So, work that into your pricing model somehow, because essentially my clients are paying for their own gifts.
Right.
So that's just how it works behind the
They should just
scenes.
pat
But
themselves on the back.
you did such a great job. But I'm I'm lucky that in mine I have something with my business name on it. It's so my great great aunt Benedict Renstead was a photographer she was in the first generation of my family to come from Denmark, which I tie into my investment guide, and I mentioned the Renstead family because they're really what encouraged me to start my business. And she has photographs of Native Americans that a huge collection of them that are part of the Smithsonian. and they were exhibited, and there was a book written by one of the Smithsonian anthropologists, and it's a really great coffee table book because it has some of these beautiful photographs from the turn of the last century. And I buy them like 10 at a time, and I give those to clients as sort of a gift because everybody
I want
can use one
one.
more book. Well,
Put it
come
on
on
my
down or ship
put it
it. I
on
can
my
ship it.
Christmas wish list.
I will link it in the
Is
show
it
notes
on
too
like
for anybody.
Amazon and stuff? It's
Yeah,
like
you can
Anna's
buy it
Decoration.
on
That's so cool.
Amazon. So her name is Benedict Renstead. But if you just look up like sure, if you Google or Amazon search Renstead, you'd find it. Um, it's just like a fun little thing that's like people can have it on a shelf. Everybody needs more books, and the pictures are
Right.
nice to look at. The history of it, talking about like female photographers at the turn of the century. It's a
Mm-hmm.
fascinating glimpse at history. It's a fascinating glimpse at Native American culture that went widely undocumented at that time frame because a lot of their culture was being erased. And so to have photographs of a lot of these tribal members, and some of them are just so fantastic and beautiful. So I think it's a great history lesson visually if you just want it to be pretty.
And your
Um,
name's on it. Your business
and
name's
yeah,
on it. So
exactly.
that's cool. That's awesome.
That makes it like an even easier of like people be like, what's this book from? And it's like, oh, that's from my interior designer. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So do you do anything like that? Any giveaways?
I have started working with this illustrator who it'll be based on the client and their kind of personality, but her name is Sharna Fulton. I heard about her through Rosa Beltran's Instagram, and she does this really kind of fun illustrated. She does illustrations of rooms, and she does a lot of architecture and maps, and they're really kind of whimsical and cute, but I don't know, I really love her style. So she just did one for a client that I should be getting any day of
Is
their
she is she on she's on
Instagram.
Instagram? Okay.
And her shop's on Etsy.
Okay.
And
We'll link her page in the show notes.
yeah, she was really great to work with because I gave her a photo for reference, and then she sent me a sketch for approval, and then
Oh my
the
gosh,
color
these are
version.
so cute.
They're just really cute. And it's not like they're,
They're playful, they're cartoony or children's book illustratory.
yeah. And they're different enough that if you hung it in the room that it's in, you'd take a minute to realize it. Like it's not like an
It's
exact,
not a 3D rendering. Like,
exactly.
yeah. These are they're cute, they're playful. Um, yeah, I can totally see where this would be fun just to have it for clients. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you
So a
so
client
much.
that's moving is doing, so I had her make one for a front door of my client who ended up selling their house as soon as we finished. So, um,
It's
yeah,
because you
it's
made
really
it look so badass that
let's get out of
everybody
here.
wanted to buy their house.
Hopefully. Um, yeah, and then I know also our friend Claire has used a, a renderer that you recommended, who
Yeah.
does a little bit more of a illustrated style.
Yeah, they're more like I've used them for client presentations, but they're a combination of computer and handmade, so there are hand drawn elements that make it feel
Mm-hmm.
softer and more,
A little more of a sketch.
yeah, more aspirational. For those of you that don't know, I desperately hate 3D renderings. I hate photorealistic 3D renderings because I think it makes the client expectation too high. I think they start taking that very literally when it looks like a literal space that you could live in, like a photo. And I really prefer to leave some things up for grabs and
Because then they're
room
like, I don't
for.
like that vase on the counter.
I know,
Okay, we're
and
not there
it
yet, girl.
does like, oh, I don't like that drapery color, and you're like, okay, we're playing pretend, and when it looks too real, it's too literal.
It's like
So
up for debate.
right. And I like when it's sort of, this is playful, it's aspirational, it's very clear that this is not a real space. Like there's room for us to make it you still. So that's a fun one. Um, and yeah, just continue with the notes with it. Like really, I hand deliver. That's the other enhancement to this is I don't just like drop them off. I make an appointment. If their project is wrapped up, I make an appointment with them to come by. By that point, this is now like unpaid time. So I'm coming by to show my gratitude for them working with me. And I'm dropping it off. I'm saying, just seeing how they're doing, seeing how they're enjoying the space, making sure they're happy, and giving them something with it. And I mean, sometimes I'm there 15 minutes. Sometimes if we really get going, it's 30 minutes. Like I just try to show that I'm being generous with my time.
Yeah, that's sweet. And it's
And
also
I'm
marking the end. Like, and
yeah, like
now we are done.
we're definitely done. You already paid. Like I don't bring that until like the last invoice is paid.
Yeah.
Not like I'm
Right.
holding the gift hostage, but definitely like this is
And on a
finalizing like
high note.
yeah, everything's done. You paid me. I gave you all of your care and maintenance materials. Like we're done. There's no more touch-ups. There's no more final little things that have to be done. We're done. I'm coming. I want to make a time to come by. I got something for you to mark the end of your project. I'd love to come by and see you, even if it's just for 15 minutes. Very intentional that we're done.
Yeah, no, that's what I like about it too. Um
That's
it
the end of
cre-
the project, though.
which creates a nice experience.
Yeah.
And overall, I think we want to try to add to the experience clients are having along the way. What are some things you do?
At the launch of a project, this is like when I say launch, it's like when the hammers are going to swing
Oh,
or
like demo day?
yeah, like this is right before demo day. Like maybe the construction team isn't there, but this is like the launch date. This is the time I'm going to see them right before it does, or it's the day the contractor shows up. I like to be there the day that the crew shows up, but I also do not freaking show up at 7 a.m. when the construction crews do. Like, that's not my jam. That's always a stressful morning for clients. And so I prefer to do it right before, but I always will still do a site meeting that first day just to reinforce with the contractor team that I'm going to be there. Um, but I like to meet with them all, even if it's right before the hammer swings with the team, the client, like everybody feels good. We've got stuff under control.
Who's doing
I like,
what questions belong
yeah,
to
like,
who?
right. And then reinforce again with the contractors, like, hey, I'm here to be the client's advocate. I'm also here to make your job easier. Let's keep that going. Bring a bottle of wine or champagne for the clients. I don't expect them to open it while we're there, obviously, because usually these are like morning meetings. But I do like to toast the project, unrelated to the client, but more for like keeping my contractors happy. I usually either order pizzas, like I tell the contractor, like, hey, I want to get you guys pizzas today. What do you guys want? I'll order it and just get it delivered to you. Or I'll like give the contractor, $40 or something, however much I think it's going to be for a couple pizzas for everyone working that day, like on a Friday.
Yeah, that's fun.
I mean, it's not
Donuts go a
much,
long
but
way, which is always
donuts,
surprising to me.
people freaking love the donuts. They love pizzas. I mean, you just want your crews to be happy. Um, I find like other people were like, oh yeah, I try to keep waters. I'm like, yeah, I feel like now like that's kind of not my jam. Like I'd rather be the food person than the water guy because water feels kind of basic. Be different if I showed up
Yeah.
with a 6-pack on a Friday afternoon and was like, you guys take these Budweisers home with you, but it's like that's kind of wacky. So it's not my jam.
You want to be the guy like, pizza's here,
The pizzas are
everybody.
here. You guys eat some pizza. No one says no to pizza. I don't know any contractor who's like, oh, I'm watching my figure. No, not when there's
Right.
pizza on a job site and they're, you know, throwing up framing and putting in flooring all day. Like everyone will eat a piece of pizza.
Yeah, no, it's a good touch.
So wine, champagne is usually for the client. Like, hey, relax a minute. Remember, this is a big deal.
You don't spray, you don't have like one to drink and one to spray and
Like a christening or not a christening. Oh my God. What do you call, is it called a
oh,
christening when you launch a boat? What's
I
that
think
called?
so. That sounds right.
Um,
Like
I
you're
don't know.
christening the voyage?
When you launch yeah, like you launch a
Yeah.
ship, it's a christening, right? What is it? I don't know. We're
Yeah,
looking
boat
it up.
christening.
Yeah, right? Like you
How to
break the
christen a
bottle
boat.
on the, yeah, that's a thing.
So
Break
yeah,
it
you
over the
could just like
bow.
break it over the old ugly island countertop and like this
like a
granite is piecing out.
like
Bye,
a
bitch.
like a rock star hotel party. Like, are you ready to rock?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or you could
got
just
it.
shake it up and spray it all over the kitchen that's about to get
I mean,
wah, wah,
that's what
wah. Have
people think we
air
do all
horns.
day. Yeah. Pew 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 pew. Let's get demoed.
That would be so fun. This is gonna be a party. Yeah, like maybe not like build it up too much of a high note because they're gonna
Yeah.
be coming down hard.
Yes, they're gonna come home that night and say, "What the fuck?" For sure. That
Realize
every
their life is gonna be a disaster.
I I always at some point send an email very early, and I'm like, "I know you're in the what have we done to our house phase. Remember, it's gonna be okay." That's usually like in the first week's email of,
Yeah.
I know you're in the phase of holy crap, but it's going to be good. I know it's scary. I know you can see dirt underneath your house right now, or your floors are ripped up, or we cut through your concrete foundation to do new plumbing. Like, it's scary.
Yeah, and it's disruptive.
Yeah. I actually just had a client because I shared my office in, and that's not like a secret, but I shared the tour of my office before starting One Room Challenge, and it's a literal shit show. Like, well, not literally, there's not actually shit in there, but it's
It's a dog show, more like it.
it was a mess and a half, a hot mess.
It
And
really wasn't that messy.
it's, for me, it looks like, if I would be worried that anybody knows what they're doing when they would have walked into that the way it was before. So, but the one of my clients I'm working with replied to my story, and she was like, "Oh my God, I feel like you get me now." And I'm like, "I've always got you. You just never saw this." I'm like, designers are just like you. We all have those spaces where the junk drawer is, or we have
Oh
to throw
yeah.
crap into a room when people come over. Like, it
Right.
happens to everybody unless you have a full-time staff. So
Right.
anyway,
Yeah, I think those little touches are really important. You add a little je ne sais quoi to your presentations too.
is that what we're gonna call that?
Yeah, I feel like there's
Um,
like mood music happening during it.
yeah, I'm usually playing Enya Sail Away. And no,
Something really aspirational.
I try to not, like, my mood boards and my presentation materials when I bring like tile and fabrics and all of that. I try to bring a couple things that are really related to mood and energy and not
Hmm.
just rough raw materials. So like, is it a little bowl with, like, it's so weird how stuff gets people going, like a small bowl with a slightly burned Palo Santo in it, or a sage bundle. It like brings connection for people, and you don't actually need to burn it, but I mean,
Well, it
the
helps
look
them
is
imagine
there.
it as a complete room and experience
Right,
that they'll have.
exactly. But then, yeah, like having a candle burning is a nice energy. I'm drawn to, like, I don't know what it is. Are there scents that you feel you're drawn to constantly in candles? Because for me, it's like sandalwood.
Yeah. I like
What's,
the ones that are like woody and have a little bit of a
like, is it oud?
herbaceous.
Oud? Oud wood?
Mm,
Oud? What is it called?
Yeah, I like the ones that are like kind of fireplacey, not tobacco,
Yeah. What is
not sweet.
oud is called something else depending on where you're from. Oh, agar wood.
Hmm.
Agar. So that's in a lot of candle scent, musky scents, not in a weird BO kind of way, but like candles that have that kind of
Mm-hmm.
like cologne type of undertone.
Yeah, I got one recently that has that. It's like a good good throwback to Dracar Noir, like cool.
your
You can say that.
your your stank boyfriend's cologne, like
But you thought it was really
that
cool.
it had to be on your pillowcase and stuff. Like put some
Yeah.
on your sweater. But yeah, I like doing something like that, or bringing a couple cuttings from like my olive trees or from my garden, like some lavender. Like bring some of that to a presentation. I did a bathroom
Yep.
presentation where I brought an unused is the key, an unused, unbleached, like natural sea sponge.
I thought you were gonna say a roll of toilet paper.
Hey, that's glamour in Corona
That's
times.
that's a real
I brought
gift. There's a
I brought you
client
guys a
gift for
little.
you.
I brought you a gift, yeah. But yeah, bring something like that that helps connect to
So kind of like a
whatever the
flat
room
lay that you
is.
would something you would do in a flat lay for a photo, bring
Yeah,
that to the presentation and kind of create a
yeah.
moment. Yeah, that's
Clients
nice.
can't resist it. They're always picking that stuff. They're going to be picking up tile. They're going to be picking up fabric. It's the tactile side of what we're going to do. And everybody has these connections to smell and to texture. And so I'm just trying to like reinforce those types of connections when they're seeing it.
And also kind of give them a feeling of luxury so they want that and will be willing to invest in it when
Totally.
they're
Yeah, this
choosing
is
materials.
I mean, the whole thing about the client experience is about creating an energy, creating um, a tone where they're really involved and engaged in the process. They're happy. You're making sure that they know how important it is to feel good during this process because it is so stressful. I mean, we're not 100% responsible for their self-worth throughout this, but if you can help some of it, it does relieve pressure and it makes your job easier.
I was thinking about this concept the other day about how we are like I don't know if this is going to be relatable to you, but we are like design doulas. So like
Okay. Yes.
so like a doula, like I had one, she was our support person who was the intermediary between the nurses and the doctors and us.
Right.
So she knew what our plan was, she knew what we wanted, and she was the in between to help guide us and
Yeah.
kind of be the bad guy when like I needed to be protected during the process. So
Yeah.
um yeah, like in this case, like we're the
We're helping
doula
them have
there.
a non-screaming silent birth.
Yeah,
Like,
and is like in what they want. It's like as much of they
yeah.
like try to like speak for them and advocate for them. Really, it's an
Right.
advocacy. So like the doctor is the contractor is the doctor in this case, right? Or the
Okay.
hospital, which is
And
like
like the subs are like the nurses.
yeah, and the hospital is going to do things as cheap and efficiently and like
Mm-hmm.
their way
Mm-hmm.
first, but we
That is
need
the
to
truth.
guide them to a little bit of a different choice sometimes.
Yeah, not every
Yeah.
contractor gets it, and that's a big piece of what we do is the warm and fuzzy part of it's
Yeah,
not just the
doula holds your
pretty.
hand. A doctor doesn't hold your hand.
Yeah,
Like
and the doula like speaks to you in an empathetic way, and it
she rubs essential oils
humanizes.
on you. Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
humanizes
helps
what
your
is otherwise
partner.
helps them like this is normal, this is stressful. Like, hey, come
Yeah.
over here. We're gonna
Calm
help you calm
down.
down. Let's take a couple deep breaths, all of us together. Like
Exactly.
that, and really, design once it gets going can feel very clinical because most of what we do is very business oriented, like tracking orders, placing orders, all of this. Like we lose sight of the sexy, fun, cool parts
Yeah, and the in
So
between, the relationship between the partners or the homeowners can get really stressful. So being the dynamic that is kind of the intermediary and can kind of smooth things over. Like I find myself in that role a lot.
yeah,
Um,
I joke a lot with them. I'm like, you guys didn't divorce yet. Oh, it's so good. You're doing better
yeah,
than a lot of other people do. And they're like, oh my God, no, don't joke about that.
and
We've had
making
a
sure there's always
few. And
one
like,
partner who doesn't always feel heard. And
right,
it tends to be the husband, but
right.
not
And I'm like, well,
always.
what are you looking for? What do you want that you're not getting?
Or
And
like
that's like,
if you send me like a really kooky light fixture,
oh my
like I
God.
just got from the husband, that okay, I'm gonna try to understand what it is about this that he likes and find a way to translate that so he feels heard. But also, the antlers are a no.
It's a no from me. That's my favorite gif is Simon Cowell from it's like America's Got Talent or whatever his show was, or still might be, where he goes, "It's a no from me," and he has that look on his face. Like, that's me. I want to be like, um, whenever clients go, I think this might be tacky. And I'm like, it probably will be, even before I see it. You just gotta joke with it. Like,
Yeah.
it probably
Probably
will
gonna
be.
hate
What show me what it is.
it. I won't shame you too
Yeah.
badly.
Yeah. That's our job. Anyway, so these are just
Yeah.
some ideas to get
So
started. I'd love to hear
design
from
doulas.
listeners. Yeah, we're Rebecca Plum, design doula. Um, I'd love to hear from listeners what they do to enhance their client experience.
Yes, we want more ideas. We'll link up the ideas we had that were specific in show notes. Don't forget to
Totes my
check.
goats.
Totes on the show notes. All right, well, that's a wrap on this week.
Until next time.
Stay hot, designers. Thanks for joining this meeting of the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Check out the show notes there for links to things we talked about today.
We are keeping the conversation going on Instagram, so don't forget to like, comment, and follow at Hot Young Designers Club.
You can find Rebecca on Instagram at Studio Plum.
And you can find Shaun at Renstead Interiors. That's WRENSTED.
He was calling us daddies. I'm like, bitch, I'm 35. Like, I would have had to
That's
have
not
a
like
teenage
a
kid. I would have had to be.
sexy.
No, it's not appropriate. Just because I have a few gray hairs and I'm 35, like, daddy, maybe to like a toddler, not to like a full grown adult other gay man. Like, no, no.